Welcome again to episode 5 Leading by Example.
So, are you ready to unlock your healing power, to turn your wounds into wisdom, to replace the fear of the unknown with courage to face it head on? If so, welcome to the Empowered Transformational Healing Podcast, a beacon of hope in your healing journey. I am your host, Krystal Jae, and now I would love for you to imagine this space as a sanctuary where we unravel the tightly knotted threads of our past traumas, where we transform our secret silent cries of pain into powerful roars of strength, a place where we finally break free from the invisible chains that are holding us hostage. It's time to stop questioning who you are and start discovering your authentic self. This is not just about survival, it's about thriving. It's about embracing the journey of transformational healing that leads you to live a life filled with joy, passion, and purpose. Each week, we will dive into powerful conversations, share inspirational stories, and sometimes heartbreaking stories because guess what? It's all real and it's all true. And we'll provide practical tools that will empower you to navigate through life's challenges. So no matter where you are in your healing journey, this podcast here is designed to help you tap into your inner strength and embrace your uniqueness and awaken with your full potential. So now, let's begin.
Hey, this is Krystal Jae, and today I have a special guest. It's going to be my daughter, Zakaya. She is 12. She is blessing us with her presence today. So stay tuned in this conversation between mother and daughter, and we're going to talk about all the things about leading by an example as a mom and what she is learning from me as a daughter, and just the different things that she can put into her life that is helping her, whether it's in school or at home or even when she's out with her friends. So today, this episode is going to be leading by example. We actually asked her just a couple hours ago, would she just jump on and do a podcast episode with me? Because she came in from school after basketball practice or volleyball practice. My bad. It's not basketball season yet. We still have one volleyball game. And she was coming after volleyball practice and she was telling me about her day. And I was like, oh, only if other people can hear the things that our kids can learn from us. The techniques and things that I wish I had when I was her age. But I'm just really blessed and honored that I've been able to experience life, and I am now in the place that I am to where I can also teach my daughter and teach my sons how to have a healthy support system, how to prevent bullying and have that awareness of bullying, to know how to manage their anxiety. And so today, Zakaya and I are just going to have a conversation about that and just share how she got to learn some of these skills and how they even help not just us that are adults, but also our children and our teenagers, right? So, Zakaya, go ahead and say hi. This is her first podcast, so she might be a little shy and everything else, but with time, I'm pretty sure she's going to blossom. She's going to open up and she's going to come in and have experiences with us and everything else, right? So, today, Zakaya, you came in from basketball practice and you was telling me about, oh, see, I'm already pushing her into basketball. You was telling me about volleyball practice. You came in after volleyball practice and you tell me about your day. Let's go ahead and share it with everyone if you don't mind. Is that okay? Yeah, what happened with your friends?
So basically, like 2 weeks ago, they were talking bad about one of our other friends in a group chat. So I told my friend that what they're saying, and so I guess, and then they got mad at me. And then a week after that, they came to me at lunch saying that I spread a rumor that they were being racist to me, but I never spread the rumor, and I've never heard about that. So I knew it wasn't a rumor. And then I think it was today at lunch. They asked, they told one of their other friends to tell me and my friend Norma to uh, sit at a different table at lunch because there's too much tension at the table. But I sit there because I have some other friends at the table, and not because they're at the table.
Okay. And you were also mentioning that when they asked you to move from the table, and you were telling them, no, that's not the only reason you sit at the table. And you mentioned that you was telling them that, they're on one end having a conversation, and you and the other girls are on the other end having a conversation. So how did that make you feel when they came and was had someone to kind of play the middle and be like, "Hey, can y'all move?"
I felt like a little bit angry because like if y'all can't just say it to my face and just don't say it, because I'm not gonna move at all, no matter what y'all say, even if y'all tell someone else to say it to me.
Okay. And then you had mentioned earlier that you started feeling anxious and you was trying to not have an anxiety attack, right? So can you share with us some of the things that you was experiencing?
I guess I was kind of like on the verge of tears with like a little bit of like shortness of breath and a little bit of anger. So like a little bit of like sadness and anger, and basically I felt like two different things. So I had my stress ball that my brother got me to like help me with my anger and my verge of tears. And then I was also breathing, taking deep breaths, doing the 5, 6, 7 count.
So the 5, 6, 7 count that she's talking about is a technique that I taught her. So it's breathing in for a count of 5, holding your breath for a count of 6, and blowing out on a count of 7. So what that does is a lot of times when we're having anxiety, our heartbeats get to racing and our mind gets to going. And if we're counting and if we're taking those breaths will help slow our heart rate. So that counting will help us focus on counting instead of all the racing thoughts. So that's what she was talking about. And then having a stress ball. That's something that we can sit there and hold in our hands. It's something that we can carry with us, whether you carry a purse or a backpack. It's something you can easily pull out and have in your hand and squeeze to kind of like, do something with your hands. So if you technically don't have a stress ball, you can do tapping, tapping different parts of your body. You're feeling stressed in one area. And one thing that stress balls also do is if you're anything like me, at one point, when my anxiety gets really bad, I pick. And so having something like a physical thing like a stress ball will help prevent you from picking as well. So look how you mentioned that, your brother taught you that stress ball, right? How often do you go to your brother about and talk to him about different things?
I would say anything that happens, I would probably go to him. I'll talk to him. I think he was the first person that I told the first day it happened.
How old is the brother that you're talking about right now?
20.
21.
21.
Malachi's 21. He is my oldest. And then I have a 13-year-old, soon to be 14, who's Amir. And him and Zakiah both go to the same school because Amir's in 8th and Zakiah's in 7th. And so Zakiah was also sharing with me who her healthy support system is. And so, Zakiah, do you kind of tell us to you when I say healthy support system, right? What does that mean to you?
For me, it would mean like going to like my family, like my cousins, my brothers, my parents, and probably my closest friends that I can really talk to, and not just any friend.
Zakiah also knows, when it comes to a healthy support system, that not everybody, you notice that she put her closest friends, not just anybody. Because your healthy support system should be a close knit group of people that you know will not only have your best interests at heart, but they are also a safe space. People that you can talk to, people who are going to be honest with you, people who are going to help you and guide you in the best way possible, right? So during that healthy support system, she didn't only name her closest friends, but she also named her brothers. She also named her cousins that she has. She also named, us as parents, having that open door with our children to where they feel safe, to where they can come and talk to us. One thing that I do with my kids, if they come to me and they be like, "Mom, can we talk?" They already know once they say that, "Can we talk?" The discussion is open. They can talk freely without getting in trouble for whatever may happen. Because I'd rather them be open and be able to come and talk to me than to hide and be scared that they can't come to me. This is actually different for you than for last year, right?
Yes.
So what was your experience last year in school?
Last year, I'd say I couldn't really handle my anxiety attacks and all that. So I was kind of like really trying. So I'll either text my mom or text my brother Malachi, just randomly and all that at lunch because I'm at school. And I tried breathing, and I couldn't really focus on my breathing and all that. So I was like, my breathing was rapid, and I couldn't really do it. So and then my mom taught me the 5, 6, 7, which really helped me.
And so last year, before there was an incident at school, the school wide, right? Before that, Zakiah was in school and she was having anxiety attacks, at least a couple of times a week. And so she would call either me or she'll call her brother to kind of help talk her down or help talk her through the situation. And she was very shy and always felt like her friends were talking about her, even if they weren't, she didn't always know. And so it was just her anxiety was always running. In the spring, before or right after spring break, there was a incident at the school to where, there was a rumor going around that someone had brought a gun to the school. My husband and I and other parents, we just wasn't comfortable with the way that the school handled it. So I actually pulled my kids out for the rest of the year. From April all the way through when school started in August, they were homeschooled. And then they had the summer off. And another thing that I do with my kids, especially Zamir and Zakiah, is that we have this deal. So all my kids love reading, and so one thing that I made a deal with Zamir and Zakiah was if they were to read something educational, and if they gave me a report on it, if it could be just a page long, it don't have to be nothing like, like you when you're in school or anything like that. Just tell me what they learned from it, and in their own words, and however long that may be. And just tell me about it. Them reading an educational book, they get, a certain amount of money, and um, if they do the report, they get, money on top of that. So, Zakiah, so during this whole deal thing, there was a time where I remember I was downstairs and I was sitting in the living room, and you was like, "Mom," you was like, "Can I have my money now?" And you was like, "I read a book, and here's my report. So Can I still have the extra? And I was like, yes, that's our deal.
$70.
Oh my god, y'all, this girl, like, she racked up, like, within 2 weeks, she racked up $70 worth of books and reports. Yeah. And so I gave it to her, and so I was like, yeah, I was like, what's your last one? Because I'm keeping that. I'm like, hold on, I'm missing one. So she brought me down a report, and the report was, I started reading it, right? Because she didn't put a name on what the book was. So I just started reading it. And I was like, this sounds very familiar to my book. It's the, where's the camera? It's the Empowered Women Inspired Vision. It's wisdom, inspiration, guidance, and empowerment for women. And so it's an awesome book. Of course, I'm going to say that because it's my book, but it's an awesome book. And Zakiya read it. You know, I gave her a copy of it, and so she read it, and that was one of her book reports. And so, Zakiya, can you share a little bit about what you learned a little bit about in that book, if you remember that far back?
I do not remember.
Okay, let's go this way. So, do you remember when you read the book? Did you learn anything from it?
I learned a lot. I learned a lot about everything about my parents.
This summer, I hosted a Empower Your Inner Goddess conference, Mind, Body, and Soul. And so Zakiya, she didn't only volunteer at the event, but of course she was there the whole time, and she walked around with me and she met the different women that were there. And so Zakiya, can you tell me how that experience was for you?
It was really fun. It was really fun to meet different people, and I would say that really like got me to talk to more people at school too.
Okay. Last year, when you were at school, you were, I wouldn't say you were very shy, but you were very hesitant on speaking up for yourself. And you seem like you were unsure of yourself. Where now you go and you're just, oh, you're really confident. You speak up for yourself. You have made a lot more friends.
A lot more.
Oh, a lot more. Okay, well, she probably got some friends I don't know about, y'all. Can you tell me what helped you change, make that change from being to where you were very like in a shell and scared to speak up and scared to make new friends and scared to try new things to where now you're very outgoing?
Um, I would say part of it is like, getting older, but another part would be like reading my mom's book and reading and like going to the empowerment and going to the
The conference?
Yeah, the conference. And it like helped me talk to more people. And then that made me like break out of my shell.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I like talked to new people that was there. So that really helped me break out of my shell.
So during this year of growth, because you were also, of course, you was also here and you was also around when I actually had my mental breakdown and I was in the bed and wouldn't get up and all that kind of stuff. I know we have never really talked into detail about how it made you feel. And so we don't have to talk about that, right now. But how would you say you feel from that moment to like where mommy is now? Like, what do you think of that process?
I think my mom done has really has been feeling better a little bit because she's being more like herself than when she was in her bed all the time. Both my brothers and me had to beg her to get off the bed.
So it's no secret here on Empowered Transformational Healing with Krystal Jae or on any of my platforms. That's part of my story is that, I've had different traumatic experiences through life and I would process them and I would do therapy and I would think that I was like, okay. And then it came this one event and it was just like, like I like to explain it like it was a Jenga. Like my whole body was a Jenga, right? It was like the Jenga blocks or whatever. And it was all stacked, all nice and neat and perfect, right? because and tight because we're like, hey, I'm trying to win this, not trying to make it easy for the other person, right? Each traumatic event pulled out a block and left a hole, right? And this last traumatic event, the one that had put me into my mental breakdown, what had happened, it pulled that one Jenga piece that was where everything came down, even my foundation. Sometimes when you play Jenga, you can pull the one and then you still have like some left, or the top will fall over, and even though the is over, you still have that foundation. Well, with this block, it was like the foundation was no longer there at all. I was down, I was out for the count. I knew I couldn't continue to live to where I wasn't getting out of bed. I wasn't taking a shower. I wasn't doing anything. My kids were begging. My kids were making sure I was eating and drinking, and along with my husband. And so I just couldn't continue to be that place because I knew that they needed me. I reached out to my primary care, and then there was waiting lists for psychologists and therapists and everything else along the line. Finally, I just started digging in and doing the work myself and learning what I can. And then when I started receiving help, really paying attention to what they were saying and digging deeper, my kids got to see me through this process. And so as I was learning things and as I was trying new things, they were sometimes doing the things right along with me. So like with Zakaya, like I've had a vision board, I hosted a vision board party. Zakaya was down there with us. She has her own vision board in her room.
Yeah.
you know?
What's it? Snacks, shoes, bed.
The normal teenage middle school stuff, right? And then like you can't see from the view of the camera, but just like the little saying over here by the wall on the wall, I have a lot of different words on this other wall that y'all can't see. And so some of them say goddess, essence, believe, alignment, God, abundance, divine, imagine, transform, purpose, strength, discover, a whole bunch of different words. And so Zakaya, she had seen me when I was putting up those words, and she actually helped me put them up. But what did you do to your wall?
I put my own words, my own positive words all over my walls. So I have like positive words that describe me. I ask family, friends, and then I put words of my own.
The things that we do, our kids pick up. So it's leading by example. While we're talking about that, I want to go ahead and bring in, I had created hold on. the empowerment coloring book for women, right? So this coloring book isn't just a regular coloring book. So go ahead and tell them about it, Zakaya.
Well, basically, my mama created these designs. So it's has different images put all together, and then some pages have inspiration, inspiring words, and they're really beautiful. And, it has her flower in probably all the pages. It's her favorite flower, I'm pretty sure.
Yes, so my thing is lilies. So in this coloring book, it also had, as I was flipping through the pages and showing y'all, it has an image of, has different images to color. But then also on the other side, it has check-ins. So like for this one, it says, today I'm feeling, and then it has 3 blocks where people can fill in with 3 different words, nothing biggie. And then it has a positive affirmation. What's your positive affirmation for that day? Today I'm grateful for. What are you grateful for? It has 3 options. Can you fill out all 3? Something I'm proud of. You want more of this in your life and less of this. And your favorite moment of the day. And tomorrow I look forward to. Every page has some type of check-in. And it's not every page, but every side. One side's a coloring, one side is, the check-in. And it says, today I'm feeling, and today I'm grateful for. So it's just different things that you can check in for. So it's like a little journal and it's a coloring book. And so it takes two different ways to process and it puts it in one book. So even if you are like, okay, I don't really feel like coloring, but I really want to check in and I don't want to write something long in a journal, then you can do a check in. You can still come in and do your check in, and then the space is left to where it's blank and you have a space to fill in things, because if you go through the therapeutic art, when I talk more about it, you will learn that you can draw different pictures to mean different things, or you can have different colors to mean different things. And so it leaves you for that, for you to really be creative in this space and do what you want, some of these spaces, like this one says, your vibe attracts your tribe, and then it has coloring spots, right? This one, it says breaking the mold. Um, this one is just a beautiful coloring page. And yes, I use a lot of flowers, and most, I'm telling you now, most of the flowers I use, there's some type of lilies. Lilies are my thing. Elephants are my thing. So I merge like an elephant and a woman together. Thriving in life, vision, and purpose. So it's a lot of empowering and inspiring words that go along with it, because we want to include that in our lives. And so actually, Zakiya was actually, when she seen me making it, she was like, Mom, I want a copy. And so she was one of the first people to get a copy of it. And she, and like she said, she loves coloring. But coloring is also therapeutic. So it's also, if you have a young one, you give your young one some colors, and they'll draw, or they'll just scribble on paper and everything else. You can be sitting up there working this book, coloring and journaling, and all they're going, and your kid is going to be like, Mom is coloring with me, Mommy is spending time with me. Another thing that we've talked a lot about, Zakiya, is bullying, right? And this week I asked you and Zamir to wear orange on Wednesday. Yeah, I totally forgot about that. Which of course she forgot about before she left school that morning. And I was up getting dressed, so I didn't actually get to see her. I got to, we got to yell and be like, have a good day at school. I will. And we talk a lot about, treating others like we want to be treated. And if we see someone being bullied, to tell someone to speak up for that person. If someone needs help, to help them. So we talk about those things, and so we talk about also speaking up and not allowing others to treat us with disrespect, or treating us in badly, right? So Zakiya, well, I want to ask you, so we can go ahead and wrap this up. If you can give anybody some piece of advice, maybe it's someone who's younger than you, right? A piece of advice if they're having a hard time in school, like you were last year, what would you tell them?
I tell them to just, do the 5, 6, 7. So breathe in for 5 seconds, hold for 6, and breathe out for 7. Because that'll really help you. And then I'll say probably get like ask your parents for like a stress ball, or ask anybody who'll give you one. So you can at least have that to squeeze while you're doing it. Because that'll help you with like your anger and your sadness and your rapid breathing all at once. Because like you're doing both two things at the same time, and they both helping you with it. So I'll definitely say do that. And maybe if talking to either your siblings or your parents helps, then do that too. Because that's what I did, and it really helped me.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I have one more question, and it's not a trick question. Okay, I want you to say it from your heart. If a mom would come up to you and be like, "Oh, what advice would you give a mom to help their teenager or their preteen if they were having anxiety, or was having trouble making friends, or um, was having difficulty focusing in school? What kind of advice would you give that mom?"
Mm, I'd say if the child is like having difficulty like talking to other kids and making new friends, I definitely tell their parents to like to get their kids some some place where they have to communicate with other people, because that'll definitely probably get them out their shell and start talking to more people, like talking to more adults. And adults are a little trickier.
Yeah.
So I would say that would help them talk to more kids at their school. And with their anxiety, just like if it's something that like my anxiety has been kicking my anxiety in, like just like people, me thinking people are talking about me and all that, I definitely say if you haven't heard anything, or they're like no one has looked at you in a weird way or laughed when they look at you and all that, if they haven't laughed at you, just don't worry. They probably haven't. And if it's if it's you and your friends having drama, then after a while it'll just go away and start using your breathing and your stress ball.
Thank you, Zakai. Those were wonderful pieces of advice. And I know that, the moms that are listening, or the aunties, or, we may even have some dads or some brothers or some sisters in here that is listening. And I know that they're going to appreciate that advice. It's even advice from, a preteen. Helping us out with, parenting, because sometimes it's good to know like what they're experiencing, because sometimes when we get up in age, we act like we forgot that they go through when you're a preteen or a teenager. You go through things that bring anxiety on, that brings anxiousness on, that brings nervousness now on, and just like it's sometimes hard for us to get our shell and go and network or go and talk to our coworkers or meet new people, it's hard for them as well. But as Zakaya said, you mentioned her going to the conference with me. That was her being able to see me also out there and talking to the other women, and her coming along with me and being able to talk to them and them talking to her, and she being able to really experience that environment to kind of be like, oh. And I'm pretty sure she took some nuggets in there and was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna keep this. She probably also has some aha moments to where she was like, that's how that works, And so, it's just all these different experiences. The point of this conversation today was to show that as we are on our empowered transformational healing journey, and the things that we do to heal ourselves will also help our children and teach them the skills that they need. Because when I was Akaya's age, I was shy. I was a follower. There was no way that I didn't have like the whole host of friends that she has. And I would have been, if someone would have told me to leave a table, I would have loved running and crying and probably went and hid in the bathroom until it was time to go to class. I didn't have that because I didn't have the skills. I didn't have the techniques. If we learn those, we can give those to our children and help them. Empowered transformational healing is for us to transform, it's for us to have empowerment, but it's also for us to empower those around us, to help transform the ones around us as well, to help them get through the traumas that they experience in their life as well, because they will also learn from the things that we are learning from, especially if we are implementing from them, right? So, again, I just want to say thank you, Zakaya. Thank you for joining me. On this is her first podcast, y'all. Yay to Zakaya. We're so proud of her. I just want to say I really appreciate you for, tuning in and watching or listening to, whichever one it may be, to Empowered Transformational Healing with Krystal Jae. And we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for joining me today on the Empowered Transformational Healing podcast with me, Krystal Jae. And we never know what others are going through silently. So take time to share, follow, and subscribe. And as always,